Good evening. I call this October 22nd meeting of the Morrisville Town Council to order. Thank you to those here in person with us tonight, those watching via live stream, and those who are watching a recording of this meeting. Our town mission statement, which helps guide our decisions tonight and into the future, is connecting our diverse community to an enhanced quality of life through innovative programs and services. Councilmember Rao is very close. He's on Aviation Parkway, so he should be joining us momentarily. Officer Jay Thompson is our Sergeant at Arms for this evening's meeting. We thank you for your attendance. This evening, I'll be leading our invocation. For the last couple of weeks and for the next couple of weeks, we'll be celebrating Diwali and other events. As we gather to keep our town moving forward in the right direction, tonight I'm grateful for all the people who devote their time and efforts to help bring people together in order to build meaningful connections. Our staff, various organizations, countless volunteers and sponsors are all necessary to make Morrisville much more than a group of people, but truly a welcoming, inclusive, and interconnected community. Our staff, volunteers, and our residents are each and every day taking actions to make a positive difference in people's lives. When we come together and live, learn, work, play, and stay together, we are more than the sum of our parts. Happy Diwali, happy Halloween, happy Veterans Day, and happy holidays as we enter the holiday season. All who are able, please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we adopt tonight's agenda, Town Council policy is to review and ensure there are no conflicts of interest or appearance of conflict of interest with any items on the agenda. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Scroggins-Johnson at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. I have something to share that is not a conflict of interest according to our legal team. My son has recently started employment with Cherry Beckert, and he disclosed that I have a relationship with the town of Morrisville, and he did not participate in the audit that is being presented tonight at all. So I just wanted to raise that as a sharing. It's just an awareness, not a conflict, but just so that there is no misunderstanding.
Thank you, and congratulations to Sterling. That's exciting.
Thank you.
Seeing nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adopt this evening's agenda.
Make that
Motion
motion.
from Councilmember Johnson, a second from Councilmember Rabati. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously. There are 3 items on this evening's consent agenda: September minutes, resolution authorizing construction for the Morrisville Dog Park, and resolution authorizing an application to the NC Division of Parks and Recreation for a grant for the Sawmill Creek Greenway. Would anyone like to pull any of those items for discussion? I'd like to recognize Councilmember Rabati, please.
I would like to pull the resolution authorizing construction of the dog park for just a brief discussion.
Okay, that sounds fine. Seeing nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda without that item.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Scroggins-Johnson, a second from Councilmember Rabati. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That also carries unanimously 6-0. I'd like to recognize Town Engineer Mark Spagnoli to discuss. Councilmember Rabati.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
good evening.
I was hoping that you could just go over for the public what exactly the resolution means and what the timeline for the construction of the dog park is.
Sure. So the town has been embarking on the development of a dog park for some time now. Back in 2018, it was identified as a priority project under the town's park master plan. So over the last couple of years, the town has allocated funds and has developed a design of the dog park. The dog park is going to be located just literally across the street on Franklin Upchurch Senior Street and Town Hall Drive. The dog park will accommodate large and small dogs. We're preserving the tree canopy as much as possible to provide a well-shaded dog park. It's going to have a parking lot, an entry feature, plenty of amenities for the dogs and patrons to use. As you see here, we're awarding the contract to Bar Construction. The project has been bid and is ready for construction. We intend to start construction before the end of the calendar year, and Once we get through winter, we'll give you an exact date of when we'll be finished, but it'll be sometime next year.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for town engineer? Would you like to make a motion to adopt?
Yes, I make a motion to adopt the evening's agenda. Oh.
This resolution.
Okay, I make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing construction of the Morrisville Dog Park, 2024-338-0.
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilmember Johnson. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously 7-0. I'd like to recommend Councilmember Rao is now with us. Is there anything you'd like to share about the appearance of conflict or possible conflict on anything?
I have no conflict on the agenda.
Mic on.
And for that last part, I forgot to turn my mic on. I'm sorry. Okay, so that was a motion from Councilmember Abadi, a second by Councilmember Johnson, carried unanimously 7-0. Councilmember Rao has joined us, and he has no conflicts on anything on the agenda. Moving forward, administrative reports are for information only. Council members, are there any questions regarding the Council Connect Morrisville Strategic Plan Progress Update and/or the Advisory Committee Fall/Winter Recruitment Update submitted for administrative reports? Okay. Then we will just move on. We are now at the presentations section of the agenda. At this time, we invite Councilmember Abadi to read the proclamation recognizing National First Responders Day.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas first responders, including firefighters, police officers, public works professionals, and other first responders, stand on the front lines of our community, selflessly serving and protecting the residents of the town of Morrisville in times of crisis. And whereas first responders respond swiftly and courageously to emergencies, often putting their own lives at risk to ensure the safety and well-being of others, whether in natural disasters, accidents, medical emergencies, or public health and safety threats. And whereas it is in the public interest for the residents, civic leaders, and children in the town of Morrisville to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of firefighters, police officers, public works professionals, and other first responders' efforts in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2024 marks the 6th annual National First Responders Day, sponsored by bipartisan resolutions in the U.S. Senate and House. Now, therefore, the Town of Morrisville Town Council does hereby designate October 28, 2024 as National First Responders Day and urges all residents to join with representatives of government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our firefighters, police officers, public works professionals, and other first responders, to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing the quality of life of all. I would like to invite Chief Acosta, Chief of Police, Jeffrey Brown, Director of Public Works, and Nate Lazinski, Fire Chief, to come up front and receive the proclamation.
So I'm very honored to be up here tonight, especially with these two gentlemen, not just for their amazing leadership with their departments, but it's an honor to be here because of who they actually represent and who I represent. It's the men and women of the fire department, of public works, and of the police department who are here when you need them the most. And oftentimes, even for public works, they are here in many of the worst times, and we never even know it because they're behind the scenes, but they support us in a way that we could not do our jobs without them. So with that, thank you all, and thank the folks that you work with, and thank you for the recognition today.
We will now invite Byron Hayes, Budget Director and Interim Finance Director, to come forward for the financial presentation.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Before we get started with this presentation, I did just want to take an opportunity just to thank the finance staff as well as Jeannie and Don and the budget staff for the hard work that allowed us to be able to get this report done. Am I too loud? I feel like I'm too loud. Okay. I can't stress enough the fine work that they did this year. In the midst of this transition from Nancy to myself, they all really took an opportunity to do things that they were not used to necessarily doing on a daily basis, and they all excelled at that. And like I said, I cannot stress enough how much I appreciate the fine work that they did this year in getting this audit completed. I do also just want to mention before April comes up that we will be bringing back a fund balance presentation to you all in November. So we're excited to be able to present that to you as well. We won't be doing it tonight, but we will be bringing it to you in November. And with that being said, I want to introduce April Adams, audit partner with Cherry Becker, to give our presentation of the audit executive summary. April.
Thanks, Byron. This. Okay, gotcha. Got it. To advance it. All right. Let's try it. All right. So, well, good afternoon. I'm excited to be here to deliver the results of the June 30th, 2024 financial statement audit. Tonight, what I'd like to cover with you are all the things on the screen. Basically, I'm just going to introduce to you the team of Cherry Becker professionals that conducted the audit, the results itself, and then there's a whole bunch of communications that the audit standards that we perform the audit under that we're required to communicate to you as a part of the audit and part of the service. So we will jump right into that. So this slide's important to me for number one, just to reiterate that you as the town council are the board of governance and that you guys are the ones that hired us to perform the audit as your external auditors. And so we are required to report to you under those audit standards because of that. I did serve as the engagement director, and what that means is that I'm the one that signs the audit opinions on behalf of the firm and takes responsibility for the work. Also, every audit that our firm performs is required to be reviewed by someone of equal level as me, and so Dan Goggerty performed that review of the financial statements and the single audit work that we did. Albert Ong did serve as the audit manager. This is his first year doing that, and then served alongside with Carly Coleman as the senior. She's been the senior in your engagement for multiple years, and so she really is in the details of the work, but Albert helps me run the audit plan and make sure that we follow all the standards. All right, so the results of the audit, we did finish our audit yesterday and dated it yesterday. We issued it today. We did issue unmodified opinions or reports on all 3 reports that we issue as a part of our audit. That covers the financial statements themselves, the federal single audit, which is the grant dollars administered by the town that are received from the federal government, and then the state single audit, same thing. It's the grant funds received from the state that the town received and spent during the year. Look, I was missing a slide there. So our audit also covers a lot of work related to internal controls. What this slide is telling you, there's a lot of words on the slide, but what it's telling you is that we don't actually opine on internal controls, but we are required to report on them of things that we found during our review of those controls and tested controls. I feel like I'm missing every other slide on this slide. All right, so, well, what I'll tell you, what I was expecting a slide to say was that we did not issue any material weaknesses as a part of the audit. There's 2 different kinds of internal control findings that we can report. It would be a material weakness or a significant deficiency. We don't actually say that we didn't find any significant deficiencies because of the way that we decide what internal controls to look at. We only look at significant audit areas or significant transaction cycles, and so there is a chance that there might be a significant deficiency in other cycles that we didn't look at, so we don't give that clear designation that no significant deficiencies were found. As far as corrected and incorrect misstatements, what this means is from the time that we receive the trial balance and issue the report, we are on the hook for reporting to you any journal entries that are identified during the audit that are actually booked into the financial statements themselves, or any journal entries that are discovered that we don't actually need to be booked for the statements to be materially corrected, but are just noted and need to be brought to your attention. So we did identify one, what we call the past adjustment, is an uncorrected adjustment. That means it was not booked to be corrected for the current year. And the reason being for that is that the entry that we discovered, or was brought to our attention actually, has to do with being able to correct something that happened in a prior year that was incorrect. And so it's flowing through the current year incorrectly because it's in the prior year to get everything at the end of this year to be correct. And so that just had to do with a $41,000 entry related to something in a capital project fund that needed to not be there. So we're correcting it this year by taking it out. All right, so the qualitative aspects of accounting, these are a bunch of different topics that we are required to communicate with you. Typically, this first one is about changes in significant accounting policies that might have happened during the year. Over the last couple of years, I've had one to report to you every year as a new audit standard or a new accounting standard has come out. I'm happy to report we didn't have any of those to battle this year and figure out how to put into the financial statements. So no changes from the prior year as far as accounting practices or policies. Related parties, I was happy to hear the conflict of interest questions being asked at the beginning of the meeting, because that's typically where those related party activities would be identified. We were not aware of any related party transactions that we needed to look at as a part of our audit. So that's all the words on the slide are telling you, is that we don't have any related party issues that we had to look at. Similar for significant and unusual transactions, we are required to be looking for those during the audit, and we ask about them frequently to the various folks that we're talking with to make sure that there are no significant unusual transactions. The audit standards want us to look for those because typically that would be a transaction that the entity is not used to recording, and so they would want us to make sure that those significant unusual transactions are recorded properly. We didn't identify any of those transactions during the year to look at. This slide is just to bring to your attention significant estimates that exist within your financial statements, because they are, in their very nature, they're estimates. So they are what management could estimate with all the information they had about the topic to be able to estimate a number within your financial statements. So the actual results of whatever they estimated could be different in the future. And so we want to call those out to you so that you're aware. The biggest ones that are in your financial statements are related to your benefits for your employees post-employment. So your health insurance and your just pension in general for those are the biggest estimates that exist. And then finally, lastly, is the audit standards will require us to identify any disclosures in your financial statements that we don't think are neutral, consistent, or clear. I'm not reporting any or calling out any of those disclosures because I do feel like you could look at the financial statements and read the footnotes and understand what it's trying to tell you. All right, as far as independence goes, we are your external auditors, which means that we are required to maintain a level of independence. That means that we take a look at any non-attest services that we might perform as your external auditor, and those are things like if we were to write your financial statements. We don't, but things like of that nature. The only thing that we do that's considered a non-attest service is prepare a report to the federal government that discloses the results of the audit when it comes to the single audit. So the federal grant dollars that were spent during the year, we help fill out a form based with information from the audit report, and then it's reviewed by us and Byron and then signed and submitted. So we'll be doing that as well. We don't believe that impairs our independence. As far as additional required communications, we didn't encounter any difficulties during our audit. We didn't have any disagreements with management during our audit. We didn't consult any other auditors on any matters. That would be any kind of special matters that we would want to consult with outside of our engagement team. We did obtain a signed management representation letter today, and that's signed by the town manager as well as Byron. Our audit's only good as far as the information that's provided to us and the things that are represented to us to a certain extent. And so we take note of all those things and then put them in a letter and have those two sign it so that we're able to rely upon those representations as a part of our opinion. We're not aware that management consulted any other auditors on any matters or accounting during the audit. We don't have any other findings or issues to report to you tonight. As far as a fraud and illegal acts, this is just a general reminder that our audit is not set to look specifically for fraud or illegal acts, but should we come across those during our audit, we are required to report those to you. I'm happy to report we didn't see anything like that during the audit of the stuff that we looked at. And then going concern, we are required to evaluate the entity's ability, the town's ability to continue for the next 12 months. And so we do believe that you will be here a year from now, still in operation, which is great. This other matters slide, this is just kind of reminding you that the way that our opinion lays out and covers all of the information that's in those financial statements. It covers the basic financial statements, which are the core financial statements you see up front, as well as the notes. Anything like the required supplementary, that would be your management discussion and analysis that you find within those statements, and the 10-year data that's in there related to the other post-employment benefits and the pension plans. We actually don't opine on those. We do read it to make sure it doesn't contradict anything that we are opining on, but we don't extend our opinion to that. And then the supplementary information, those are things like the individual fund schedules that combine and tie up to the front. We do extend our opinion in relation to that information. So that is covered under our opinion, as well as the schedule of federal expended federal and state awards. So that opinion covers that statement as well. That was a duplicate slide. I didn't know that earlier. And then last thing to cover here is that changes are coming up as far as GASB standards. Those are the accounting standards that the town reports under. And so we had a break this year and didn't have any to implement, but we'll be back on next year, adding on compensated absences. You guys do already have compensated absences. That is for the vacation pay, but this will add on an estimate related to sick pay that's out there. And so we'll be working with Byron and Casey to help them figure out what that number is. The 102, certain risk disclosures. This is just additional disclosures should the town find itself at risk as far as revenues go. If you think back to the pandemic when the governor had shut down operations for things, maybe that limited your ability to generate revenue. We would want that to be disclosed, and it would now be required to be disclosed as a risk to the organization during that time, just as an example. And then 103, the financial reporting model improvement. This will change some of the way that the town reports in their financial statement, the numbers themselves, maybe the order of the schedules and those types of things. So you'll see that come in the next couple of years within your statements. Not next year, but I think 26, maybe 27. All right, well, that's all I had as far as the audit results for tonight. I'd be glad to take any questions.
I do not see any questions at this time. Thank you very much for a clean audit. We appreciate our staff who created all the data and worked with you to make sure that everything's correct.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And I do just want to come back up and just reiterate exactly what April said, that this is an audit that was clean, an audit that was free of findings or material misstatements, and that we will be sending you all a copy shortly so that you all will have it. Any questions for me? Okay. All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Next, we invite Giselle Rodriguez, Deputy Town Manager, to come forward for the final presentation of this evening.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's always great when we have the opportunity to welcome new people to our amazing team. So I am really excited tonight to introduce you to our first ever Economic Development Director, Tiffany McNeil. Tiffany brings over 20 years of economic development experience to the town, and she holds a Master's of Public Administration from the North Carolina Central University. She is a certified economic developer through the International Economic Development Council. Tiffany comes to us from the town of Fuquay-Varina, where she successfully served as the Economic Development Director for the last 3 years. She also held key roles such as Senior Workforce Development Consultant at Duke Energy, Business Retention and Expansion Manager at the City of Raleigh, Client Services Manager at EDPNC, and Economic Developer at the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Her career success is rooted in her ability to build strong partnerships with community groups, educational institutions, and economic development organizations at all levels. She's got 1 week on the job, and we are very confident that her expertise and collaborative approach will drive the exciting growth of our community in alignment with the town's economic development vision. To share a fun fact about Tiffany with you is she loves to travel the world with her family, and she's been to a few cool places, so she may be able to tell us about that at some point in time. But with that, I would like to turn it over to her in case she wants to share any words, but join me in welcoming her to this team. And I have already enjoyed the week that she has been here, and I have no doubt that she will take us to greater heights in economic development, and very excited to see that vision unfold. So Tiffany?
Thank you, Giselle. Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. I'm really excited to be the town of Morrisville's first Economic Development Director. I look forward to collaborating with each and every one of you to ensure Morrisville's continued success. Thank you.
Excellent. Welcome to the team. Anyone have any comments? Councilman Moreau?
We're just really excited for you joining the team. We worked really hard to approve this position, so welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Looking forward to great things from you.
Okay. Welcome to the team.
Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
We are now at public address. For those who have signed up to speak, please approach the podium when your name is called. Begin by stating your name, your residential address, and direct your comments to the entire council. Each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to ensure everyone has a fair opportunity to share their thoughts. A timer will start after you state your name and address, and a buzzer will sound when your time is up. We appreciate your cooperation in helping us manage time fairly for all participants. Is there anyone signed up, Town Clerk Spillane?
No, there's no one signed up this evening.
Okay. Is there anyone here in the audience who would like to speak to this body for up to 3 minutes? Even if you didn't sign up, we're happy to welcome those thoughts now. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on. And as a reminder, we encourage the submission of written comments as they offer a valuable way for the community members to share their feedback. You can always reach us at towncouncil@morrisvillenc.gov. Tonight, we will continue the quasi-judicial public hearing from October 8th regarding the special use permit for a major utility facility in Wake County. Council action is also scheduled for this item this evening. The town clerk will now administer oaths to any witnesses providing testimony who have not yet been sworn in, and then Brittany Johnson, Planning Manager, will facilitate the discussion. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be sworn in on this item? Looks like we have one person. If you please approach the town clerk. Ms. Johnson?
All right, I'm going to pull up the presentation here. Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure to bring before you again tonight a special use permit application submitted by Wake County. As a reminder, the applicant is requesting a special use permit for a major utility facility use to accommodate the future development and operation of a Wake County Convenience Center on a portion of 414 Aviation Parkway, located east of the intersection of Aviation Parkway and International Drive. During the public hearing for this item held on October 8th, the applicant presented material, evidence, and testimony regarding the findings of the 7 special use standards. The public hearing remains open. No changes were made to this item. No changes were requested by council or any pending questions. As a reminder, the subject portion of the property is outlined here in yellow. The property is zoned industrial management and is currently the site of the town of Morrisville's public works facility and partially vacant. The area outlined in red here represents the remainder of the parcel that is not subject to the special use permit and is the future site of the town of Morrisville's public works facility. So here we have the adjacent properties. All of the other properties are vacant, located within the town of Cary and zoned for open space. The proposed development, as you all review this development, it is important to note that the site will be the future site of both the Wake County Convenience Center and the town of Morrisville's proposed public works facility. The Wake County Convenience Center requires a special use permit. The other project will be established by right with the current zoning designation. Here is the proposed development. This is the site plan for the site at full build out. So the plan both shows the Wake County side as well as the public works side. This key here represents the portion of the property that is subject to the special use permit. So your special use permit standards, the applicant again must demonstrate through competent material, substantial evidence and testimony how they are meeting the findings of fact, which are outlined in section 2.5.6D of the UDO. One is that the proposed development will not materially endanger the public health or safety. Two, the proposed development will comply with all regulations and standards generally applicable within the zoning designation and specifically applicable to the particular type of special use. Three, the proposed development will not substantially endanger the value of adjoining property or the public necessity. Four, the proposed development will be in harmony with the intensity, scale, and character of the developments existing or planned in the surrounding area. Five, the proposed development will not cause undue traffic congestion or create a traffic hazard. Six, the proposed development will not generate need for transportation, water supply, sewage disposal, fire and police protection, and similar public services that cannot be adequately handled by available infrastructure and facilities. And seven, the proposed development will be consistent with the comprehensive plan. For your staff recommendation, again, if proven with evidence and testimony demonstrating that the finding of facts are met, staff does recommend approval for this special use permit with the following conditions. One, in order to comply with all applicable Morrisville UDO requirements, including UDO section 8.1.3C, Wake County will construct the portions of Aviation Parkway Road improvements for which the county is responsible as identified in the TIA prior to the receipt of a certificate of occupancy or final plat approval. This agreement will be formalized in the upcoming interlocal agreement between the town and the county. Two, FNCDOT approves the installation of a traffic signal on Aviation Parkway at the town of Morrisville's public works facility / convenience center joint entrance driveway. Wake County will pay 19% of the cost to install the traffic signal. The agreement will be formalized in the upcoming ILA interlocal agreement between the town and the county. And third, the proposed development shall be developed consistent with the approved site plan, notwithstanding minor modifications to the approved site plan may be approved administratively, consistent with the provisions of UDO section 2.5.6C6D. With that, again, so we are scheduled for action tonight. The public hearing for this item was opened on October 8th. It does remain open tonight. You will be scheduled to take action. At this time, you can approve as submitted, approve with conditions, or deny. And again, this is quasi-judicial, therefore, your decision is based on the finding of facts presented by the applicant. Here is your resolution language for tonight. Do you have any questions for me, our town attorney, or for the applicant at this point?
I do not see anyone who needs any questions. We swore 2 new people in. Did they have something that they felt they needed to add, or that was just in case we had questions?
Just in case of questions.
Excellent. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing then.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I have a motion from Councilmember Johnson, a second from Councilmember Body to close the public hearing. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion as written before us. I will recognize Mayor Pro Tem Garamella, please.
Yeah, I put a resolution 2024-321-0 of the Morrisville Town Council approving a special use permit for the major utility facility use to accommodate the future development of a Wake County Convenience Center at 414 Aviation Parkway, Wake County, PIN 07554627762 and quasi -24-009.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Garamella, a second from Councilmember Johnson. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you very much, Brittany, for navigating all of this. Thank you to our attorneys for helping us out, and thank you for Wake County staff for working in continued collaboration with the town. We're really looking forward to moving this project forward. Thank you all very much. Okay, we're scheduled for a break, but we're about an hour and a half ahead of schedule, so we're just going to keep on going.
I need dinner, though. I didn't eat today.
We're going to give them a moment to clear the room.
Good job, man. Good work.
Okay, next on the agenda is action items. Brandon Zudema, Town Manager, will come forward to facilitate this next item, please.
There we go. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Thank you for your time tonight. As you're aware, we have been working with the Morrisville Chamber of Commerce for a number of months now to create a new services agreement between the town and the chamber. Prior to this, we have had two separate documents for a number of years. One was an agreement that was primarily focused around economic development, and then the other was a trade agreement. So with our hiring of an economic development director and the chamber with their current staff focusing more on some other opportunities, but still being able to support economic development in a number of ways, we've elected to put this into one services agreement. So you have seen the majority of this before. Only this isn't on consent because we had some final conversation with the chamber. Rose and Emily offered some edits, and I just wanted to briefly show those to you so you know what you're approving, because it's this much different from the last time we talked with you. And of course, I do want to acknowledge that Rose Cornelius, the president of the chamber, is with us in the room. And I will say, I will hope that we will get an opportunity to recognize her perhaps in December if she'll so allow it. But other than that, this may be her last time before you in a formal role. So I want to say thank you to Rose for all her work and efforts as the chamber president. I think she's done an outstanding job. She has certainly been committed to Morrisville and to the town and supporting us and helping us support them. So I think it's been a great working relationship. She's been an important part of getting this agreement done. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you. So I'm going to just go down through this. If you have anything you'd like to talk about, I'm happy to do that, but I'm just going to show you the highlights of where we made some minor changes. Well, I apologize. This is not showing the edits. Bear with me a second. Give me 1 second to email her the document. It must have been lost when we made the PDF. I apologize.
That's fine. Like I said, we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so this is not a problem.
I don't want to be the guy that messes that up.
That doesn't mean we want delays. It just means we're ahead.
It's only slow when there's, 50 people watching. So again, thank you for your patience. So I will go down through here. So in section 2, performance, it formally read the chamber shall ensure their programming is not in conflict with any town events or programming prior to scheduling. They asked that we give a little buffer there and shall make their best effort to avoid that. There certainly could be an opportunity if that could happen. I didn't think that was particularly problematic. And then under section 6, term and termination, it talks about the town may terminate this agreement at any time for just cause, including but not limited to inadequate performance by the chamber and some other factors. What they've asked to be added, which I think is fair, and has also been looked at actually by Lori as we made some of these edits. In the case of inadequate performance, the town must supply a written description of this performance with a 60-day period for the chamber to address such performance. So really just a clarification on how that process would work. And then actually I just had a typo there, direct impact on rather than to. And then this other section talks about public policy forums. The chamber will engage with local governments and elected officials, provide the business community a direct link to the people and initiatives shaping our region and policies that affect everyday lives. The note here is that the chamber requests that a member of the town staff participates in the planning committee for these forums to ensure the chamber is delivering upon desired content. That was certainly our intent. We just hadn't said that, so I think that's a perfectly appropriate addition as well. And then under that same section, it talks about other programming and training with relevant content that's intended to support economic development and small business growth and retention in Morrisville. I included a line, the town will work with the chamber to further define the goals and deliverables for each of those events. Again, I think the chamber focused on making sure that they're doing what they can to meet expectations and that we set reasonable goals. And they added a recognition of the town as a platinum sponsor for the state of Morrisville, and that adjusted the total value of what was formerly sort of the trade agreement. And then just a correction from training room to conference room, and added the note that the town will endeavor to notify the chamber of usage needs with as much advance notice as possible. They're using that as revenue generators, so we want to try to avoid conflicting with any of that. We highlighted that for discussion. We didn't change anything there. And the one thing that I want to touch on, the last thing. So the chamber, what this said was the chamber agrees to make their best effort to ensure that at least 51% of their members are businesses. That had some different language. What the conversation was that I think approximately 40%-ish right now, and that certainly is their goal to increase Morrisville businesses, but they're also expanding, in other markets. They have businesses that belong to multiple chambers. So in fairness to them, we have modified that slightly. Let me find that in the new document. The chamber agrees to make their best effort to actively recruit members that are businesses within the Morrisville municipal limits. So rather than setting that sort of artificial goal that, depending on how they're recruiting, may or may not be attainable, they've agreed to make their best effort to actively recruit Morrisville businesses. So that's the updates. I'm happy to answer any questions about that if you have them, and if not, would ask you to consider adopting the resolution authorizing me to sign this agreement with Rose.
Councilmember Rabadi, please.
All the way back up at the beginning, where it talks about dissolving the agreement with a 60-day. Could you go back up to that part? Because the language seems to me to indicate that there are metrics, performance metrics, because I get that, there's some stipulations about the number of events that the chamber will hold, and that's fine, and I suppose that if they didn't hold that number of events, that would be one thing, but I find still that we're short on qualitative metrics for events, and I'm wondering, I feel like we talk about this all the time, do we have any thoughts on better ways that we can assess programming, or that the chamber can assess programming that would give us a little better idea of how it's going?
Yeah, what we previously discussed was because there's some transition, we're adding our economic development director. Rose is retiring, which will bring a new president. And given that we're already, we're adopting this in October with a retro back to July 1st, that we felt it was appropriate to work through this first agreement, see what the spring brings in terms of where the chamber is working towards, and that we would revisit that. Again, this is a one-year agreement. This does not automatically renew. You will have to discuss this amongst yourselves and also with the chamber in the spring before you would both agree to renew it. So we have that opportunity coming up in what will be less than 8 months, or about 8 months.
Okay. I also did want to thank Dr. Cornelius for her work at the chamber. It's been amazing working with you, and I'm not sure what we're going to do when you're gone. So definitely echo what you said earlier. Okay, so the answer is pending.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions at this time? Okay, I'd entertain a motion. Would anyone like to be recognized? Okay, Councilmember Rabati, please.
I move that we adopt Resolution 2024-287-0 of the Morrisville Town Council authorizing a services agreement with the Morrisville Chamber of Commerce.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Rabati, a second from Councilmember Scroggins-Johnson. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously. Thank you very much to you, to Rose, to the entire team. I know that was a lot of work putting that together. And we hope to see you again in December, Rose. Okay. I think that's from all of us for sure. Okay. We're just going to keep on moving. Brittany Johnson, Planning Manager, will come forward to facilitate the next item.
Good evening. Good to be back again before you all tonight. I want to bring before you again the application proposing a major modification to the existing Park West Village PD. There have been no updates on this item other than the applicant has provided a study concerning, impact study concerning the project. Do you have any questions for the applicant concerning that?
Councilmember Rabati, did you mean to have your
I'm
thing
sorry,
up
no.
still? Okay. I don't see any questions at this time.
Okay. Do you have any questions for staff for this item?
Any questions for staff? Okay. Would anyone like to be recognized? I'd like to recognize Councilmember Rao, please.
Yes, Mayor. I first of all want to thank the applicant for their work on with the town and the staff on this rezoning. And I just want to say that I do see a lot of positive benefits of the plan you put before us, particularly the workforce housing, the solar, the work on the solar, the green space, the innovation center. And I do believe that more foot traffic would increase, help small businesses. So I really look at this from my colleagues on the council and the public hearing, not just a decision about apartments, but I think it's also an economic development decision. With that being said, I do think that there are still concerns from some of my colleagues about multifamily as the only way to help and support the small businesses. And so for me, just for to be fully transparent to my colleagues, I do not, I would not want to vote this down today, because then the applicant would be not able to come back before us for a year. So I think the solution would be and I'm going to eventually make a motion, but I think we should continue this item. I don't know when we would look back at it, with the idea being to address through compromise and through conversation with the applicant, um, you know, how our concerns could be addressed so that we can move forward and support the redevelopment of Park West, which I believe if we do not do, will significantly hinder our only really major destination office park, I mean, just park, like a mixed use center in the town of Morrisville. So I think a call for further deliberation could involve just engaging residents more, engaging the council more. I mean, this was a hard decision for me. I mean, if I had to come down to voting yes or no, I probably would support it, but I really would feel more comfortable having all the council members comfortable with that. So I'm going to just propose this. I want to hear what your all thoughts are about continuing it to a further date where we can have more dialogue. But I think we need to be specific about what we're looking for to be fair to the applicant, or they're going to have to look at alternatives. And I, for full disclosure, do not believe it's in the best interest to just let it go. And then, you know, because I think based on my frequent visits there, I've been running there, and I can see that there's a lot of shops that are having a problem making it. So I'm going to stop there and just want to hear from everyone else.
Okay, thank you for sharing that perspective. Councilmember Fender, please.
Thank you. I definitely agree with Councilmember Rao about the Park West area needing redevelopment. However, I do not believe apartments are the answer. I think apartments are the easiest, cheapest way for the developer to redevelop and make the most money. However, it's not the best solution for our community as a whole. You know, if I planned on voting no tonight, you know, we have gone back and forth multiple times with Casto and giving suggestions, feedback, and I do not believe Casto is listening to us. You know, he first presented this to us how many years ago? During COVID, 4 years ago, possibly. And at that time, it was going to be senior housing, which I was for. And then when it was finally presented to the council, the senior housing was not in there. Mr. Lowell and I have exchanged emails back and forth, and I'll share with you some of that. What I've said is Casto is basing what they want to do on past performance data rather than looking for the future. You know, in 5 minutes, I Googled multiple sites with data that focused on the movie theater industry. Think what the developer could do if they researched what can be done for longer than 5 minutes. The information that is out there is saying that the movie industry, going to the movie theater, is not dying, it's evolving, and it has to change to meet where people are. Yes, we can sit at home and get a movie on Netflix, but people still want the enjoyment of going out to dinner, going to the movie theater, but that movie theater needs to remain competitive. And a lot of other movie theaters are upgrading their sound systems, their projecting systems, offering a lot more activities such as bowling alleys, bars, I feel like I'm forgetting one, but regardless, if we do go forward with a continuance tonight, I strongly encourage Casto to come back with a truly innovative redevelopment solution that brings people to and activates that area. Simply bringing more apartments is not the answer. Morrisville has apartments coming out of our ears. You just built apartments along Morrisville Parkway. There's so much more that can be done for that area than simply build apartments. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't see anyone else who wants to make comments. I think that there would be a lot of value in ongoing collaboration to come to a better solution. As Perquest is my neighbor, I feel that strongly. Councilmember Rabadi, please.
Well, I think that talking about postponing the motions or the vote so that we can collaborate with the applicant is putting the cart before the horse when we haven't heard from the applicant that they would like more time to collaborate with us. If the applicant is prepared to say that, then I will agree with Councilmember Rao, but if not, I mean, we have before us a plan in which nothing has changed from the last discussion. You know, I'm not sure what the point is of postponing the vote.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to recognize our town attorney to talk about a continuance and what that means. It's my understanding that continuance is based on a council request rather than an applicant request. But Ms. Jones?
So it can be based on either. I mean, the applicant has requested a continuance before, and that was granted. The council amongst itself can decide to put this off to a different date. I do suggest that if you're going to approve a continuance, that you do set a date for when that this will come back before you. But again, that is within the power of the council. And again, the applicant can request a continuance as well.
Okay. So out of respect for Councilmember Rabadi's request, and the applicant is here, would the applicant like to respond? Feel free to respond or not.
Good evening, Neil Ghosh with the Morningstar Law Group representing Casto on this rezoning request. We've heard a few comments tonight, and there seems to be some indication that some continued time to allow further conversation with council would be desired here. Casto is open to that as they have been in the past. You know, we're happy to meet with council members to continue discussions about this project. So yeah, they are open to a continuance.
Any follow-up question, or does that meet your needs? Okay, thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Okay, if there's no other discussion on that, I recognize Councilmember Rao for a motion. And I think the attorney indicated that perhaps a date, I don't know how firm it has to be. Would it be spring, summer? Does it need to be a certain council meeting?
So I would suggest, I mean, we're already at the end of October. I would propose the December 10th meeting. You could set this. That's something that the council can reconsider. Also in discussion with the applicant, whether or not that works. But it would be helpful for continuance purposes to get a date on the calendar so this doesn't kind of lag behind. And then if you want to change it, that can occur.
I'd like to recognize Town Manager Zudema real quick about how that timing would be such that we're at end of October now and holidays coming up.
So I think that we can make an effort to have those conversations. You know, I think whether that results in something being able to come back that you would be prepared to act on, I don't know. I can answer that question today. But I do know that I think the applicant would be interested in at least an earlier initial deadline to see where we are, to have that as our goal, and understanding that if it's difficult to make some of these meetings happen, again, that my suggestion would be they might be small group meetings for that level of conversation. So I'm happy to help coordinate those, should you take a continuance tonight. And I've spoken to the applicant. He's open to coordinating with me to help small group meetings that might occur over the next several weeks.
Okay, so maybe a target date of December 10th, Councilmember Rao, as part of the motion.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. And for full disclosure, I will not be here on December 10th. So, but I make a motion. Can you work with me on language, attorney? Do I just say, do I make a motion to continue the? All right. I make a motion to continue the proposed major amendment to the Park West Village mixed-use plan development rezoning 22-0012 to the December 10th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Rao, a second from Councilmember Scroggins Johnson. Any discussion on that motion? I'd like to recognize Councilmember Fender, please.
Yeah, we've been continuing this topic for a number of months now. I don't think and nothing has really changed. So what's another 6 weeks gonna do? And I think if there's seriously gonna be any real change, it need to give them more time. I don't know. I don't know what the point of kicking this down the road another few weeks is. We've been talking to them for almost a year. I mean, technically longer.
Do you have a proposed date in mind?
June. Well, my preference is to vote this down and have him go back to the drawing board. That's my preference. But if you're wanting to do a continuance, I mean, what's the point of putting this back on the calendar 6 weeks from now? We've been going back and forth for nearly a year.
Okay. Anything else, Councilmember Fender? We can circle back again. You'll have another chance if you wish. Councilmember Johnson, please.
So I think the request was for December 10th, and at best case scenario, there'd be a conclusion to this. Worst case scenario, there would be a check-in. So I'm okay with the December 10th meeting. But I fully, I fully agree where this has gone on for a long time. And I think the applicant has been trying to work with us, and I know we're not all happy. I hear that. But I think to give them some more time, I'm not in favor of doing anything that goes past December 10th, because I think we need a check-in to see where we're at and then decide how to move forward.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Garamella, please.
Yeah, I think December 10th is a good checkpoint date, I believe. And for me, it is about, I consider Park West as the Fenton of Morrisville in 2000. It was one of the most premium shopping complexes that have ever seen, and has a flavor to it and a pride to say this is Morrisville. Last Friday, I was just passing through around 8 p.m. The target area was bustling, and when you go through this particular area, I felt for the first time unsafe. The reason I felt unsafe is just you're going through it, not a single car, single person on the road, not a single person in front of a movie theater, and taking a left from there. So something has to be done. I want this a last chance for Park West it affects years to come. Yeah, they have taken a lot of effort, and I want to see till the last straw what we can do to keep it up and going.
Thank you. So there's been a request to consider amending your motion. Oh, sorry, Councilmember Body, I thought you put it back down.
Yeah,
My bad.
I just didn't want it to get lost in the shuffle here that we all share the goal of making Park West a vibrant shopping hub, the Fenton of Morrisville. We all share that goal. The difference, I think that the intelligent people can disagree on what the best method to achieve that is. And I am not prepared to be convinced that adding apartments there is the way to do it. And it's because I want Park West to be vital, to be everything that it should and could be, that I'm against this. So I just don't want that to get I just don't want that to get lost. Like, this is not pro Park West versus the anti Park West. We're all pro Park West. I love Park West. I'm down there every weekend. But we have to go forward in a way that is actually going to realize that goal of making Park West vibrant, of revitalizing it. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about, do we love Park West or not? I just felt like maybe somebody needed to say that. Thank you.
I am glad that you did.
Thank you,
Councilmember
Ann.
Scroggins-Johnson, please.
So I have been pro and con, seesawing for many months and years about what is the best win-win for the town and for the Park West Village, area. And we have, over the years, enhanced Park West. We have enhanced the restaurants so that they could have fast casual eating. We have enhanced it through Trader Joe's, reimagining that space. We've added apartments that are nearby with the Bristol. We've allowed that development to happen because each time we needed to invigorate, reimagine, add more residents to the area and increase the density. Just increasing the density through apartments and adding more restaurants by removing the theater is reducing the mix. Also, it's more of the same. If people are not coming to some of the restaurants in that location, then just adding more apartments does not guarantee that people will visit those restaurants either. We have to reimagine, think about what's current, and I think just more of the same is not necessarily the solution. So we need to take a step back and say, well, what else is there going to draw people not only from the residential portion of Park West, but from the rest of the area of Morrisville, Cary that surrounds it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, not seeing any other comments. I think a check-in on December 10th, personally, it gets us in the right direction, but I want to give you the opportunity to respond to Councilmember Fender's thought about amending your motion to make it later, or are you still happy with the 10th?
I'm happy with the 10th. I was actually, I'm happy with the 10th because it seems that's where we have consensus. I was actually thinking the new year, but I think a check-in in the 10th would be good for us to, take a look at that. And so anyway, that's where I stand with it.
I have a motion and a second on the table. We've had discussion. All those in favor of the motion to continue this item until December 10th for a target check-in, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously 7-0. This item is continued for a target date to bring it back on the 10th, and we look forward to collaborating with the applicants with the help of the town manager facilitating those meetings, which will be in small groups, so they will not be public meetings, but it'll be a way to try to move this forward in a positive way for everyone's benefit. So thank you very much for the applicant for being here and for being flexible and continuing to work with us. Thank you very much. Okay, we are still a bit ahead of schedule. We are now at council comments. I'd like to first recognize Councilmember Fender, followed by Councilmember Rao.
I have no comments.
Councilmember Rao, followed by Councilmember Scroggins Johnson, please.
I just have a few comments. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for all the great Diwali events. Our staff in Morrisville was wonderful. Humsab Diwali was great. And also the Kerry Proclamation that was held at the Kerry Park. I want to thank Councilmember Bonsall for that. And I want to wish everyone a really happy Diwali, and just remember that it's a celebration of light, but during the storms in Western Carolina, I think it's also a time to reflect on just the spirit of service and helping others. So I want to thank everybody in Morrisville that's been helping those, first responders, staff, volunteers, everybody, council. On Monday is Riot's conference on the Internet of Things, Connected Communities Conference. So if you're listening and you're in tech and you want to keep up with opportunities to help innovation and help our towns, please join. I want to thank the North Carolina Association of Indian Americans for raising $50,000 for the hurricane relief efforts and shipping and traveling to Lenore to drop off shipments. And I'm going to stop there. I did want to make one last comment, just in general. Well, you know what? I'll hold off. There's been some confusion on the amendment on the Constitution about on the ballot, and I just want for the public to know that it's legal in North Carolina for non-citizens to vote. I'll just leave it at that. But please research before you vote and make sure you go vote. The polls are open. Early voting ends on November 2nd, and the last day to request an absentee ballot is the 29th of October, and election is on November 5th. Thank you.
I just want to give the opportunity to clarify what you just said. Did you say?
What I just said is that what I've said is I completely stand by remarks. I'm not expressing my opinion about the amendment.
You said it's not
Illegal.
Thank you.
Illegal. That's what I meant. I'm so sorry. It's been a long day. It is illegal. It is illegal for non-citizens to vote, and they took the language naturalized citizens. But if there's immigrants out there, I know probably he's been getting calls. Or anybody, but you could still vote if you went through the naturalization process. That's all I was saying. So I'm so sorry. Thank you for the catch. It is illegal for non-citizens to vote. You cannot vote in North Carolina or the United States of America if you are not a citizen of this country.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Councilmember Scroggins Johnson, followed by Mayor Pro Tem Garamella, please.
No comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Garamella, followed by Councilmember Johnson, please.
First, happy Diwali and happy Halloween. Unfortunately, it's falling on the same day as Diwali and Halloween, so it will be interesting. The kids going and people doing fireworks. So I'm a little curious as to how the whole thing will work out. But also, I think this is our last council meeting before the general election. And I encourage everyone to go vote and exercise your biggest gift that has been given, to go exercise, vote. Doesn't matter which party you are, but to go and vote is more important. And the polls will get more busier and busier as the days get less. But I think get some time, there are a couple of websites that basically give you the tracker of how much wait times whoever has designed it is pretty neat. And you can, based on that, you can go and do yourself counted.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson, followed by myself.
So 2 things. Brandon, please thank our staff for the fabulous job they did at Diwali. It was a wonderful event, and I'm not good at crowd sizes, but I got to tell you, that looked like a crowd that was similar to our July 3rd fireworks. And did you want to add something?
I would just say clearly several thousand people.
Yes, Yes, I was very impressed with the size of the crowd, and again, fabulous event. So thank you all so very much for that. And I too want to encourage everyone to please get out and vote. You just heard from everyone. Early voting ends on Saturday, November 2nd. You can still register at early voting. So if you are not a registered voter, you have until November 2nd to register and vote at the same time. And then lastly, please, please, please go out to the Wake County Board of Elections website. They have an early voting wait time tracker. It actually might be quicker to drive to Raleigh to vote at one of those sites than some other locations. So go out to Wake County Board of Elections website, look for their early voting wait time tracker, and you can see exactly what the wait time is at every early voting site in Wake County, and you can vote at any of those early voting sites.
So, clarification. Yes. Can you vote anywhere in North Carolina, or you have to be within a county, right?
You have to be in Wake County. Wake County registered voters have to vote in Wake County.
Any polling site.
Any of the early voting sites in Wake County, they will have all the Wake County ballots at all the early voting sites in Wake County for Wake County registered voters.
Thank you.
It's my turn, followed by Councilmember Body. I also encourage everyone to vote. I got a chance to vote first thing on Thursday and was glad to do it because I hear the lines are getting much longer. A big thank you to staff for organizing and volunteering for the donation drive to support the recovery of friends and families in Western North Carolina. I was very excited to see so many of our friends and neighbors and local organizations step up to help those in need out west. A couple of weeks ago was Walk and Roll to School Day. I enjoyed helping over at Cedar Fork, and Parkside had theirs as well. I wish I could have been at both places, but that's not possible. Tomorrow, Morrisville Elementary will have theirs starting at Morrisville Community Park Large Field, and that'll be starting at about 8:15, and everyone's welcome. I'm looking forward to seeing the happy, smiling faces of our Mustang families and Principal Burt Batten and his team. I'm looking forward to our inaugural Boo Bash this Saturday at Morrisville Community Park. I plan to once again be dressed as Luke Skywalker. And I look forward to seeing the many cute, scary, creative, and diverse costumes that our families will be wearing. Good luck to the New York Yankees as they battle the Dodgers. For those of you who don't know, I am from New York. And I'm one of those transplanted from New York who like to say y'all and does not miss shoveling snow. Now to Councilmember Rabati.
I wanted to add my thanks to the staff for the amazing Diwali event and to my fellow council members and the members of the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee that joined us in the Diwali fashion show. That was so fun. And I really enjoyed that. And I also wanted to say vote, 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 and don't be intimidated by the voting trackers. They're very handy, but my family and I voted Saturday morning at Herbert Young Community Center in Cary. The online wait time was an hour, and we were in and out of there in 30 minutes all in, including parking. So, yes, use the vote trackers to figure out where the best place to vote is, but don't be intimidated by long wait times. And please vote even if there is a long wait time. Like, everybody just vote. Thank you.
Town Manager Zudema, is there anything from staff this evening?
Just one, Mayor, and this is short notice, I apologize, but just got scheduled. BAPS Temple had approached us earlier in the year and partnered with us as a result of their 5K to donate some of those proceeds to our K-9 unit. They're going to make a presentation tomorrow at 3 o'clock at the police department if you're interested or available. And again, just got scheduled yesterday, so
okay.
Thank you.
And would you like to recognize that we still have some of our staff out west on a rotating basis? Is that still going on?
I believe everyone we have is back right now.
Oh, good.
We are still active in the system for all of our public safety departments, including Public Works, with offers out there. We have actually also deployed one of our IT staff to the west to work out there. So we have folks, from really across the organization supporting that. But today, everybody is at home.
Okay, wonderful. That's good to hear. That comes to the end of our public business. So we have a closed session at this time to discuss a personnel matter. So at this time, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this meeting of the Morrisville Town Council. Please visit us at www.morrisvillenc.gov for future opportunities. And at this time, I'd ask for a motion to enter into closed session. Motion from Councilmember Rao, a second from Councilmember Rabadi. All those in favor of going to closed session at this time, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously 7-0. It is 7:24. We are in closed session. Thank you very much.
Yes, we
Yes, why don't we
are.
go ahead and take 15 minutes right now and reconvene at 7:40 down at the table, please?